read, I believe on the JewishPress.com, that you are, at least according to Jewish law, a member of the Jewish tribe. So tell us about your Jewish connection. I know you don't talk about it much in the campaign trail, but let's focus on that.
Well, I will, and then I'm going to, at the very end, ask you a question.
Sure.
Because I need help in this, and I'd like your folks listening on the radio show to help me with this. My grandmother, my mother's mother, Edith Steinberg, was Jewish, which, because it's on my maternal side, will make me Jewish as well. I was raised Catholic, and my mother was raised Catholic as well. My grandmother, Edith, married an Italian fellow who was also Roman Catholic, and they raised their children Catholic. I'm very proud of my heritage. I always have been, and I've known ever since I was a little kid that my grandmother was Jewish. And to me, it just helped. I think it helped me become part of the fabric of New York, understanding that there are different cultures and different religions and different approaches. Because I love the diversity of New York, and so I celebrate my Jewish heritage. You made reference that I don't talk about it. I always thought that if I went out there and, said, hey, I'm Jewish because my maternal grandmother was Jewish, yada, 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 that would be pandering for Jewish votes. But tell me, what is the right thing to do? Because I hear different messages from different people, and the more I hear in the Jewish community, especially in the Orthodox community, they want me to play it up. If necessary, I'll play it up. But just so you know, going into it, I'm not a big pander on anything, and I may have been misguided in my thoughts on that.
Well, I see nothing wrong by saying that, you have a connection to the Jewish community because technically, according to Jewish law, you're a Jew, even though you're not practicing, you're a Catholic, but you have a special connection. I see any candidate, I always ask them about the Jewish backgrounds, Jewish roots. We had a mayor, LaGuardia, who also had Jewish roots. I don't think it was as well publicized in his day, but that's a fact. So I think going with the facts for any candidate can only do them good, not do them harm. My personal opinion.
I'm a big fan of Fiorello LaGuardia's. I was fully aware of his Jewish connection, but he may have been the only Italian that I'd ever heard of that was an Episcopalian.
Could be, but he was technically Jewish too, from my recollection. But I know more stuff has come out in recent years about that. In fact, some family members saved some Jews during the Holocaust. There was a book. But the fact is, though, a lot of candidates always tout their connections, and that's what I find when I speak to them. And you know what? I always ask, I want to find out their relationship. In fact, my question to you next is how the Jews are going to play an important vote, and especially the Orthodox community in the Republican primary. A lot more Orthodox Jews are turning Republican in the last number of years. I wonder how you're courting the Jewish vote. What are you doing to get more of the Jewish vote?
Well, I've been looking at the numbers. You may think that there are more registered Orthodox Jews, but they're on the Republican side, but they're still a significant minority. Most are Democrats. I've been spending time in various different parts of the city, and as far as talking to various community members, I have been doing it as much as I possibly can. I've done it in small meeting groups and large meeting groups, JCCs all over the city. The fact that I ended up with the endorsements of Jewish newspapers, I think, is also indicative of the time that I've spent in the communities. I will pick up my amount of involvement in the Jewish communities as soon as I win next week. In fact, I'm looking forward to spending much more time because I've been spending an enormous amount of time in the Republican areas of the city.
Now, let's look at some issues of concern to the Jewish community. By the way, have you been to Israel?
I have never been to Israel.
I
want to go. My wife wants to go. We were going to be going. It doesn't matter. We both want to go. My wife, by the way, she's gone to the General Theological Seminary, and she has an absolute fascination with the Old Testament. And so I'm looking forward to being able to go to Israel.
And even though it's not germane to the mayoral race, the mayor, whoever wins wins the primaries and win the general election, becomes the mayor of New York, and Israel is not a day-to-day affair for any new mayor. However, Israel does play a role, and we see even with Mayor Giuliani, when Arafat came to the city, he refused them the keys to the city and other things, so it plays a major role. So I'd like
when he kicked him out of Lincoln Center, and one of the proudest moments of the administration, in my point of view.
I thought so, too. It took a lot of guts, and I'm glad that it took place. It sent a very clear and strong message to terrorists.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. And, I thought Arafat was, at the beginning of the day and the end of the day, a murderer.
Certainly was. Killed Americans as well as a murderer for hire. Now, some other issues, of course, are tuition tax relief. A lot of Catholic parents, a lot of Jewish parents don't take advantage of public schools. If they did, the city would be shelling out $15,000-$16,000 per child. They don't. And on top of that, they're paying tuition, which $15,000-$16,000 or more to go to a private school, to go to a parochial school. So the question is, what can we do to afford real tuition relief for parents that send their kids to parochial school?
First and foremost, I have been a supporter of vouchers going back over probably 24 years ago, when the African American community in Milwaukee, Wisconsin rebelled and wanted vouchers, and they were able to get it. We haven't had that luck in this city. We haven't had that luck in this state. I still believe it's an important tool that we should have. I'm not going to kid anybody and say we can get it done, because I don't think we can get it done in Albany. But that doesn't mean we should take it off the table. I am a big supporter of the bill that Senator Marty Golden had passed in the New York State Senate last session, which gave tax credits for those folks who sent their kids to other than public schools, regardless if they were a yeshiva or parochial school or private school. They'd get a tax credit. Unfortunately, Speaker Silver wouldn't bring it to the floor of the Assembly, so it just died on the vine. I think it's very, very important that we support these bills in both the Assembly and the Senate, and that's how we can get relief to the exorbitant tuitions that we all have to pay to send our children to private schools.
Another issue of concern to a lot of our listeners is the issue of metzitza b'peh, oral section. What is your position about that practice, which Mayor Bloomberg put restrictions on, that parents have to sign an affidavit knowing that they're aware of the dangers that could possibly come from such a practice?
Right. Well, originally, as you recall, Mayor Bloomberg was even more forceful. He wanted to end it. I mean, I thought that was an intrusion into religious practice that went far beyond the ability of any government official to do. I mean, the mayor and I were both very good friends, but I agree with him on a lot of issues. But on those issues I don't agree with him on are his strong beliefs about the separation of church and state. And I think they're misguided beliefs. I also believe that the request in requiring parents to sign a piece of paper goes too far. I don't have a problem with when a child comes out of a hospital. It's happened to me when my daughter came out of the hospital. We have lots of papers that were given and little help on how to do certain things. There should be a piece of paper in there that explains what the risks are, but no one needs to sign anything to follow their religious practice. I think that's wrong. It's a violation of our Constitution to do it, and I will never do that. I will reverse, as soon as I'm mayor, the rule that people have to sign on the dotted line their understanding of what the risks are.
Just the final question I asked to all the candidates. Do you have you're on the campaign trail, you have to eat a lot of ethnic foods. Is there a favorite Jewish food that you enjoy eating out there?
Rugula. I love rugula.
Okay.
I really do.
Rugula? Okay.
I'm going to a Rosh Hashanah dinner tomorrow night, and I'm looking forward to what goes on at these dinners. And I've been to many friends' Sabbath dinners on Friday night after sundown, and I very much enjoy both the religious practice and the food and the prayers and all of it that go together. I've been to many, and I look forward to doing more in the future.